Well, good morning and welcome to a very frosty Cosmiston Lakes. Thankfully, it's not actually icy on the boardwalk, it's just sort of heavy frost, so I haven't fallen over yet. As usual, I'm here to photograph some birds. I've already seen what looked like a reed bunting, not too sure about that. But what I actually want to talk about today was what do you really need in order to get started in wildlife photography, because it's certainly one of the most gear-dependent photography disciplines. There's no denying that. But that doesn't mean that you need to go out and spend thousands of pounds, dollars, or quatlus right away. I mean, I love fancy camera gear, but you can do a lot without the latest and greatest. So what at the bare minimum do you need in order to get started? A camera of some sort, I think, is probably the minimum. My first digital camera was a Canon 400D DSLR, which you can pick up second-hand now for about £50, I think. I mean, if you have the extra budget, you can buy something fancier, but just keep in mind that you'll probably not get it right the first time, or any time after that. And good cameras do make getting good photos easier, but they still need the same fundamental skills, and if you don't develop those skills, the extra money will just be wasted. They're doing some work in the car park here, which you can probably hear over the microphone, so I think I'm going to relocate. Well, I've relocated to one of my favourite spots here at Cosmiston, which has two benefits. One, it's got more birds, or more birds that are feeding. There's a lot of cormorants and grebes and things over this way. But it has the added benefit of there's no bloody people around here, which is nice. Slightly lost track of the breeze again. My ears are getting quite cold. But that brings me to possibly my more sensible point. Not the ears being cold, but the losing the bird. That the best investment you can make in wildlife photography, aside from getting some form of a camera, is to just get out and take a lot of photos, to invest your time rather than your money, because practice does help. And equally, your fieldcraft skills are the best investment that you can make. And I'm going to cut away to my office, where it's warm and my ears aren't cold anymore, to demonstrate what I mean with an old book. So the reason I wanted to make this video was mostly just to look at this book. Wild Birds of Britain, 100 Photographs. This was a present from my girlfriend for Christmas. It's a photo book of British birds from the early 1920s by a Frederick Beaver Kirkman. And this book really surprised me. I was not expecting photos like these, especially as this book predates 35mm film. I'd be happy with many of these shots today. They are quite extraordinary for their time. Unfortunately, there's a lack of information in the book about how these photos were taken. And I believe F.B. Kirkman was the editor rather than the photographer himself, though I don't know that for sure. So it set me off hunting for references of even earlier wildlife photography, and I was really surprised to find just how far back it goes. I have another book that shows useful fieldcraft techniques from the 1940s, which I'll cover in a future video. But for now, check out this photo I found on Wikipedia. This is wildlife photography in the 1890s. When I originally wrote down some ideas for this video, I was thinking of putting together a sort of minimum gear list for wildlife photography, but after spending more time looking at photos like these, taken 100 years ago, I realized the list should probably have only one item: camera. You can take wildlife photos with any camera, technically. The difference the camera makes is in how challenging those photos are to get and the techniques that you need to use. I won't be trading in my mirrorless camera for a large format plate camera just yet, but I will try to keep it in mind the next time I'm tempted to buy more photography gear.
Thank you very much for watching. If you have any other old photography books you can recommend to me, please do put them in the comments. I'm very interested in collecting old books, particularly around photography. Until next time.